Sanje Chedan Zoji Jono Lai Shanje Bada Dana Jazum Dage Shishe Jebe Zonam Ji Dwala Benja Sanje Drebaresho Sanje Chedan Zoji Jono Lai Shanje Bada Dana Jazum Dage Shishe Jebe Zonam Ji Dwala Benja Sanje Drebaresho Sanje Jodan Zoji Jono Lai Shanje Bada Dana Jazum Dage Chishe Jebe Zonam Ji Dola Benja Sanje Drebaresho. Okay, good morning again. Now I can see more faces. How are you, everyone? Everyone survive?
Very well.
Okay. Firstly, we do a little bit of meditation, okay? As today's right now, the most comfortable place is your place, I'm sure. When your daily practice place or whatever your place, you make very comfortable. Therefore, visualization, for front of you, I always told, any Buddha image is more comfortable or more familiar for you. Visualization that. The first, try to sit also comfortable as much as you can. The firstly, couple times, very deep, breathe in and out. You don't have to try to stop thinking. You don't have to remember things. Just follow your own breathing. Now, your mind focus on the object of Buddha's image. Any Buddha's in front of you, or you your visualization. Keep your mind that clear and tight. Then feel some blessing come from the image, dissolve your body, your mind become peace and relaxed and comfortable. then the blessing or happy feeling or peaceful feeling to share for all the mothers and recipients all over the world who's looking for the peace, the blessing become peace. And who's looking for the happy mind, it is the happy mind. Okay, thank you. This is our short meditation to do this, you can do it every day, wherever meditation makes our practice for more flexible, more familiar. As this book, describe Shantideva going to the Bodhisattva Way. But which chapter? The one chapters, the verses if it is useful for your mind, then nothing to never useful like that. A lot of things we have not much useful. And when we try to do that, it's very difficult. We don't find, results. We don't find any, things to move in that because there will not much to familiarize. Today's airplanes coming up. That are you guys hear me? Okay, that's good. Can you hear the airplane? Airplanes coming to on the air today. Therefore, it's taught to a little bit practice as much as we can every day, because it makes our pray or practice. No, also as much as we can do a little bit meditation every day, it makes our practice to perfect. Therefore, nobody perfect, but we all try to our best. And Buddhas or Bodhisattvas are not already Buddha when they are born from the mother's womb. They're also a same as for us to have attachment, jealous, anger. But when they practice, day by day, year by year, and never give up, then they become called Buddha or Bodhisattva. It's how you develop. When we say, when I become Buddha, it depends on ourselves. We can say, I study or practice Buddhism, it's like maybe 5 years, it's very long. 10 years, so I did 20 years. They say it's we have did long time. Yes, compared for others, we did long time, but then nothing. The 3 countless eons, right? In order to enlighten, we need to practice, study 3 countless eons. Therefore, we don't think, I did, but I don't see the result, not thinking that way. Okay? Like that. Then last week, I used my own English. And now today, I can rest my English. That's all. Don't you go though? Oh, good. Yeah. Yeah, counter-attack on the young and the Shunju done David Tonia. Then Yamlechi Shorty, Kawas and
So again, we're very fortunate to be able to study and practice this text, the Guide to the Bodhisattva Way of Life.
Is it enough time to the voice? Okay, good. Chenza that counter to Shanchuk simply call a ya, song shall be chape, the Shunjun Dele Haji, and code there. And things happened to the Melbourne.
So anyway, there is no text that explains about bodhicitta and a more clear and more profound than this text, the Guide to the Bodhisattva Way of Life.
제다양 내도 지금 레라오지가 담아찍니 로정체네 가도 시와다 소소세만 joan도서 다시 제가 칼에 거로와.
So just by studying once or twice to understand everything and to bring transformation to our mind is very difficult.
야 점점 가도 배 나도 로정 일을 못 잡아인 꼼만 못 잡아인 당당한 소스 길레가 모두 삼삼 용을 근데 말이 안도네 뒤에 시라게 퉁퉁이.
So sometimes we might feel that, and I've been studying for a long time and I've been doing practice for a long time, but I don't see any differences in me like that. We might think like that, but the amount of time that we really spend to do the study and practice is very short.
제자 아니 감도 제야 대한 감도 지금 띵사보다 안내도 키워셔라 제요 말해.
And on top of that, also the practice that we do is not very profound and very clear and like very focused.
제가 든데다는 수주고 아니 즉 소리라 때문에 레벨 접근을 맞아. 아니 지금 가리 지난 레벨 좋아하지 마라. 말아서 내가 놓친다. 소소고 내가 가서 즉 가로 이야가 당 삐다가지나 아니 뒤투질 내가 되다 야본도세 간지 라지 참이 동마다 용으로 와.
So we'll get the result depending on our effort, how much effort we make and how well we do. Depending on that, we'll get the result. Just because we have studied or have done some practice doesn't mean that we're going to get result right away.
아들이 다 얘네 가상한 걸 맞춘 되는데 야본도 아주 내가 주마 타나 지나서 타치잖아. 지나서 chapter 2박이 쇼로가 담보네 두바바 진다셔다요.
So I think it is good to recite the verses. At least if you have recited, then when we finish, you can say I have recited the whole chapter once at least. So let's recite from the verse 1 to verse 6. I don't know are you following this text?
It is one. Jennifer, you have another copy of one. Chapter 1, 가와 돈도 써봐야. 이젠다 대신 졸았어. 내게 강에 그게. 대군자 코로 죽은 좀 그렇지. 시간 대비 득밤에.
Yeah, so that's the, so I just read this one, we can read together. Anger destroy all the good conduct, such as generosity and worshipping the Sugatas. That has been occurred over thousands of eons. There is no vice like hatred, and there is no austerity like patience. Therefore, one should earnestly cultivate patience in various ways. The mind does not find peace, nor does it enjoy pleasure and joy, nor does it find sleep or fortitude when the thorn of hatred dwells in the heart. Even dependents, whom one rewards with wealth and honor, wish to harm the master who is repugnant due to his anger. Even friends fear him. He gives, but is not served. In brief, there is nothing that can make an angry person happy. One who recognizes hatred as the enemy, knowing that it creates suffering such as these, and persistently overcomes it, becomes happy in this world and in the other.
Good. 제가 다 되게 배나 쇼로가 담보 되게 그래 소리나 배나 다 공주의 님이대 시대요래.
So the first verse explains about the disadvantages of anger.
아니 쇼로가 님바되게 다 공주다 저번이가 아니 이해와대 바학비 공주의 님이다 저번 편에 시와 전에 탑나마나 소지군 저번에 공부를 해서 말.
And then the verse second explains about the disadvantages of anger and the advantages of patience, and therefore one should practice patience in various ways.
아니 쇼로가 숨바되겠다 알아서 만통해야겠다 니바도 여봐지나 알아서 통대가 센디가야 아니 지금 리더 셈기 니코라서 가야마 간지는 통주고 아니 동아 가이바데 도시오레서 공주의 님을 선거 고 셔당 공주 나와라 때네 통주도 소소 가르가는 용어를 해서 대선 거예요.
And then the verse 3 explains that is disadvantages of the anger that is obvious to us. Of course, there is all these hidden disadvantages which we don't see, which we might experience in the future lives, which we will not see right now. But there are other disadvantages that are obvious that we can see in this very lifetime, like losing sleep and so forth.
다 안다는 쇼로가 시와다 나와 다 두배 관계 쇼로가 인디 가서 나베나 공로라 때네 지금 소소게 지금 가지 소소라 까디 첨보 제대가다 소소라 가오 제대가도 타마 마가가 차로 생주 차로 레세는.
And then the verse 4, 5, 6 like explains that because of anger, even people who have been very nice to will dislike us.
다 되제 다 나지 되나 도도로 갈렸나 도서라 되와 되디로 제나 아니 공로 되기 아니 대단 그 그대나야 센들라야 가고 지보용 주 말이 저 심만하지 가로 가고 지보용 주 말에 다 되디로 되서 그러와.
In short, it is saying that as long as we have anger, we will not be happy in this life, nor will be happy in future lives.
다들 참에 도들 다들 당인 걸매 저렇게 선반만 있는 대신으로 강화되도 이야기다.
Okay, now we're going to have more discussion, or I will try my best to explain from verse 3 again.
셔다 중에 샘차나 옛날 시와 냠만요 가도 대화와 못업라 니모고시 때문에 저를 단대가로도 다 냠뇨 사망도 여대버려라.
So just like it is said in verse 3, the mind does not find peace, nor does it enjoy pleasure and joy, nor does it find sleep or fortitude when the thorn of hatred dwells in the heart. And this is very true with all of us, right?
다디게 돈다 가린다고 싶었나 배나 셔다 중에 샘차나 되까네 셔다 세대 수수 섬나 셔다 세대 바다마도 같이 이 샘도 소소고 손내 대대와이나 알아 가지고 코로산에 대대와이나.
So like it says, when the thorn of hatred dwells in the heart. So if we are angry or we hate something and we hold that anger or hatred in our mind without letting it go.
Bro, that's also because Michiwana or Techang some of the way. Kajinesi Shawana, Nesu Magawe, Nesu Chang some of the way. Us
like keep on thinking about somebody that we don't like or we hate. Or if it is a situation a bad situation that befell on you, and then you just keep on thinking about that situation.
다 가리반 땅 안쪽은 통치 학 고지는 거 가리는 거잖아. 옛날 시와냐면 요스 가지 샘라야 아니 가지가 되와 추니요 말이스.
And so, and the obvious result that we see, and when we harbor that kind of hatred or anger in our mind, is that we will not have peace of mind.
된대로 다이 수수 샘라 가바메와 나신기 아니 수수 릴라에 바나야 아니 가와요 말이스.
And it's really true, right? As long as we have that kind of anger in our mind, then we'll find no joy in our mind and no happiness in our body as well.
제다 아니 샘라 가바메와 나시 다 릴라야 가와고 기바데요 말이스로.
So there will be no pleasure in the body and no joy in the mind, as long as we have that anger in our mind.
가다 대화 못하라 테메세 아니 님이 오시 때문에 저랬어. 니 때문에 그거 말이스.
And not only that, we will not find sleep or fortitude.
안 더는 샘 때문에 온 말이스.
And then mind will not be stable either.
오케이 다 된 것도 있던데도 나도 코로 사대에 까불어야 매나 땅은 니 그거보다 바 알로자 주 알로자 아니 제 대용도
So while we're angry, we can't fall asleep, right? We turn here, turn there, and keep thinking about that, and then we can't fall asleep.
제가 된 것도 통치를 유지하는 거라서 다 소원 되나라 리텐데랑 거라서 통대와 소소 냠도 녀지 버틀어다.
So those are the experience that we have, obvious experiences that we have, that we can see in this very lifetime.
제가 근데 건담마 니 갑라가 인가도 니 시다 니 그거 말게 니 그거다 니 때문에 그거 말까라 니 지고 그거 말했어.
So like when we fall asleep, our sleep will not be a sound sleep. It will will not be enjoyable sleep. Will not be relaxing sleep.
아니 내가 가르쳤는데 내가 때문에 제도 말다. 나 그걸 샘 공부 사대오다 시다 사대다.
So while getting angry, even if you try to do something, any kind of work you try to do, will not be able to do it properly.
어야 다 팅이 된다 도도로 가르쳤나? 소소절라 시다가 공주고 샘데 아니 창에 샘데 파 마다와치 나보지네 되다 와이나 아니 소소고 샘바지고요 말이 샘바지보면 봐도 말이 리보야 되고요 말이 대면도 고다 많이 와는 이고 말이 대면도 샘바 템보 되고 말이 템바 도도다 되다.
So in short, what it's saying is that if we keep on harboring this mind of anger or hatred, then we will not find peace in our mind, not find any pleasure or joy in our body, will not be able to sleep well, and our mind will not be able to focus well.
왜 다들 같이 지나서 다 곰대자긴다. 가만 같이 지나서 소소 공로사회 갑가래요. 지삼노다. 디가로 소소 초와 가래가래요. 뭐요. 디가 내선으로 가래가래 쇼한 비치파. 달라 자슈전 삼모 있다다.
So now we're going to do meditation on this. Okay, so think about the situation when you are angry. What happens? What happens to your mind? What happens to your body? And think about that.
그거잖아. 아니 소소 라트에고로. 아니 문에 드네드네 용도 와서 라트에고로. 근데 맞잖아. 만도 빼셔 날라왔는지 말하자. 들이 옌바래 때문에 옌바래 맞아. 소소 라트시라 용도 말해.
So if you think in that way and see it, then you find out, what happens when I'm angry. What kind of disadvantages happen when I am angry. So you will understand that, you will realize that. Otherwise, if you just read the text and don't think in that way, then you will say, oh yeah, it is like that, but you don't really realize that.
제가 내리시 되고 다 문에 빼셨는데 로니통까지 다 미안해야 아니 랍샤죠 짬샤죠 해보다는 뒤값이 단대 가서 문에 샘기지 니네가 초면도도 뒤값는 되는데 시 잠도 와서 뭔가 원에 지금 손보고 제대로 좀 쉬어라. 야만나 아니 간지 사지 좀 내가 지금 오늘 대화를 해보지 이치 해보지라고 한 거라 봐.
So if we think in that way and then meditate on that way, then we'll realize that, oh yeah, it is really true. And what Buddha Shakyamuni or Shantideva taught about these disadvantages of the anger over 2,000 years ago is really true. So even though they taught this about this such a long time ago, but it's really true even to this day. And then by thinking that you will have even more faith in Buddha Shakyamuni, Shantideva, and so forth. So now this is how you meditate, okay? It's, oh, it must be like that, not thinking, oh, must be like that, but this is really like this. Oh, this is what's happening. This is what's happening. So that's what you have to think.
Okay, 2 minutes, okay? Okay. How that, oh, Shantideva knows me. Feel like that? Shantideva knows read my mind or my situation. This is very important, okay? When we study or practice, usually we say, okay, Buddhist Chitta, very, very important, very important. But we don't much think about them, we don't much experience. We just say, oh yeah, that way, oh yeah, that way. It doesn't much work. When we study these things, you recite that. Sometimes also the verses change in different ways. It's not easy to divide, to explain, but as much you can to divide, then the short ones, then put that into together, what the meaning and the text, then a little bit, and the lyrical meditation. Then we mind really find the force of the anger or hatred really through our own experience. Then we able to reduce that. Otherwise, we never find that. We always say, oh, anger is bad, but we really doesn't much, focus to reduce. Like that. Anyway, not talking about broken English. 제가 근데 식도마 로치 티카라야 아니 까마카지 데 삼나타 데네 다라 곰잡 아니 드네가도 네발에 네발 통some 다 신절로 봐 진짜 샹가들이 제가 임베서 매서 캘린더 보고
And so, like that, you read the text and then contemplate on the meaning and then meditate on that. And then when you're up through meditation, then you will come to realize that, that's how it is. And then when you are asked, did you see the fault as fault? And then you can, because you see it now through that, in that way, then you can say yes. And then if you say, then because you see this as a fault, and then you will not want to repeat it, and we'll say, then will you not repeat it again in the future? Then you say, yes, I'm not going to repeat. That's kind of like making a promise, to not do it afterwards. So that's we do it like that when we do the confession ceremony.
제자 내 가서 뭐 제자 놓치네 빼나 니 뭐지 때문에 제사 나가지 니 그거 말해서 바로 도줄래요. 아니 샘tempo 내 도 말해서 샘tempo면 내가 가르치나 콜라가 야고 말해서 단다래도.
So if we are angry, then we will not be able to sleep well, and whatever kind of work we do will not be good, will not be done properly. So this is really true, right?
제단된 것도 빼나 콘도 세워갈라 가서 지금 간에 특득자 돌아온다. 여반에 라판에 텍스트 메시지 들어왔다니 슈고 콘도 봐 아니 잠수지나 다 뺏어서 같아도 맞이나 다다 인삼 소소 줘가지고 온 것도 와.
So when we're angry, then we act, in an improper way, or without thinking, right? So in anger, we say something bad, or we text something bad to somebody, and then later when that anger has subsided, then you realize, oh, I should not have said that, or I should not have texted in that way. So you realize that later. Do you have that experience?
Not much, right? Because we don't much get mad. But because
so that really happens. But we don't think in that way, so we don't realize it. So having a stable mind is very important. Whether we are meditating or doing any kind of work, it's important to have a stable mind. So if our mind is very stable, then nothing can disturb us. All these things happening outside, the noises and so forth, will not be able to disturb our mind.
제가 내가 룸바지에 잡아줘야 말이야. 잡아줘. 잡아대 코로나 미참이 다 코로나 죽으셔 지워다. 미참이 다 죽고 들어봐. 대체가 지단 삼좀 강화도 강화서. 강화도 동거가 미참한테 좀 보고 들어봐. 다들 저 코로나 내가 연락도 깼다가 내가 매번 코로나 미리도 간지 찍은 누서는 거 바라바라 딱 동거에서 들어봐. 다디 갑라야 미치 말레바이나 아니 그 미리 세샤고 들어봐. 어디네 dom시다.
So I will tell you a story related to that. Once there was a king, long time ago, there was a king, and he expect people to respect him. So he, so in order to see whether they respect him or not, he will, hit a gong, and that makes the sound. And then when the people hear that gong sound, then they all have to come, to him to show that they respect him. And then so whoever doesn't come, shows that person doesn't respect him, and then he will have that person killed.
드럼되게 대나도로 소소가 샘템포 전에야 곰도 가지 대와이나 출로고 네트가 출라 소소로 고 말해서 된다.
마 된다 눈에 가르쳤어.
마 다나가 좀 차이 말이야. 좀 시작하네. 주마 대나로 대한 거다.
네, 된다 딜레마서.
알레 제단을 내마 제가 주마 대나도도 두서리다야. 근데 고거지.
Anyway, so the meaning of the story is that if you have a stable mind, nothing from outside will disturb you.
아니 녀마지 코팅 강화도 가려야 미치 다 신의 공대가 들어와 신의 공대가 그 검도 막고 이 말.
So so anyway, so the story is not over yet. So that's I don't know if you see the meaning there right now, but anyway, you'll see it later. So there was this person. There's one guy, who was meditating on calm abiding. Right. So when the king played the gong, he didn't hear the sound because he was meditating on calm abiding.
다 되네나 그 뜻단도 술래도 쓰면 콜렘도 쓰는 몇 개다가 다도 티셔도 다 해나 그 때문에 다셨을 거.
So then the king, watched over the crowd and see who came and who didn't come, and then he realized that this person was missing, and so this person didn't come. He didn't listen. He didn't come to pay respect to me. So go and catch him, bring him to me.
아니 메데 코치원 잡으면 아다 메데 딱 공다된 게 저라 막혀도 그 싸워지는 메시 아니 게 곰잡네 저런 게 되네. 단데 깨지는 고마서 나와 이 말이야.
And so when king asked, why didn't you come? He said, I'm so sorry. It's not that I didn't, it's not that I don't respect you. I don't want to, come to pay respect to you, but it's just that I was meditating on calm abiding and I didn't hear the sound of the gong.
아니 던지기 던지기 띵 사보던데 그 강아 깨춤부터 들어가지 않나 좀 하고 왔더니 근데 요 말이 저한테 여기 지나라 지가로 뿌더로 가려서 전화해 말.
And so then the king said, I don't believe that. How can you not hear such a loud sound? Even if, no matter what you're doing, this is very loud sound. How can you not hear that? And what kind of proof can you give, to prove that you didn't hear?
다 드네 전환기 변화 안에 대게 검자된 게 잡아들 전환기 이 체사가 롬보지 죽겠다지 아니 추포와 강화 춘들이 추포와 강화 개념이 딱 견자가 뭐 견자가 나네 아니 잡을 강바라야 쳇득바 찌야 살 마사바지 그래서 쳇득바 찌 사와네 저는 세기 있어 쳇득바 찌 마사 강을 내봐야나 아니 저라야 아니 롬보 고사 텔렌 토 저게서 저는 대타지 타지 저는 도지 따지 지라 봐 말.
And then the meditator told the king to test this, by telling one of his minister, to carry a full bowl of water from all the way bottom of the story, to all the bottom of the stairs, all the way to like the top of the house, like I don't know 2-3 stories of stairs. And he has to climb with the full bowl of water, and then tell him, that he cannot spill even a drop of water from that. Yeah. And if he spills, he will be killed. He will be killed right there. But if he is able to carry it all the way up, without spilling even a drop, then he will be promoted to even higher minister. And tell him that, and then see if he can do it or not.
다고 내가 쇼쇼래 쇼치니 지지나 고 소쇼니가 돼 쇼니네 고문에 딱 고산 도모라는데 딱 그때 내가 지금 좀 차대로.
So this is a very important for that minister, right? Because if he spills, then he's going to lose his life, as he will be killed, executed right there. And if he is able to carry it, without spilling any water, then he will be promoted. So this is very important for him.
아니 대콘 로이라 그 죽을래 그 수벌치는 마도와치 그 잘로라 다들 저랑 강아치보다 덤네 그 리카 말레 가로 감베 토타 말레 바랑 강아치보다 덤네 그 시골에 아니 그 질레 아니 요보스로 연로추스라 바인 바래.
And then you can make the servants to play the gong while he is carrying. Follow him, like climbing up the stairs while he's carrying the water. So you can ask your servants to do that as well.
대투야다 고 곰바 반에 미야 제 곰바 고쭉 차비 지면서 마도스 고고 네 깜바 곰바 고쭉 차비 지다 이게 가라 말레레 간단 잡샤쇼라 말.
And then he said, okay, so they should start playing the gong only after he starts to climb the stairs, and they should stop just before he finishes climbing the stairs.
따주에 다 콜라 초파와치 주나 포다다 이게 대딩 이제 로도 되지 다 코킨 로셔 아니 로주네 다 잡로라 강가 도도 이거 코 싸서 말려서 한 말이야.
And so then the king made one of his ministers to do that, right? So this was not told them, and he was just told that he has to do that, and then he started carrying water, and then the other servants were playing gongs and drums right behind him, following him, and then he made it all the way to the third story.
거기 강 랩서 있잖아 강아자다 다 거기 랩서 아니 계단기 암조를 가리고서 암조 개개 고마서 나요.
And then when he reached up, on the top, he was so scared. And then the king asked him, "What did you hear?" And he said, "I didn't hear anything."
제가 되게 수수 sem딱 땜보치와이나 출로그 자다도 고매와다. 간지 셈 죽마다 와도 땡겨.
So that shows that if your mind is really stable, focused, then the outside sounds will not be able to distract you.
되게 안에 단다 곰자 땡했다고 안에 속 마셔 왔다 마데 잡고야 코랑 그 질에 주네 곰잡네 아니 냠을 받쳐서 말.
And not only through that meditation, not only he of course was not executed, but also the king developed faith in him, and then he also followed his path.
Okay, 다저도 지 갖고서 되지 거로 줘서.
You understand now?
It's a little bit makes sense. Means 제가 내나 가로 이모고시 때문에 제가 가지 샘 땐데 내면에서 빼는 거 전부 서로 전부 왼발이.
So like it said in here, your mind will not be stable and you will not be able to fall asleep if you have anger.
제 장하다 내 갑라 안에 친구들 말로 쳐서 곰잡 삼로다 곰잡 삼로다 근데 되게 나는 소수 삼을 지금 니바로 진짜 영어로 통해서
and so like that in this kind of situation, like in the teachings like it's explained here, you should read the text and contemplate on the meaning and then meditate on that, and then find the experience within yourself.
어디지 다들 쇼로가 숨바티 된다 되네시 다 쇼로가 시와디 같은나 간다 노다 그뒤 제시 될라 템바게 땡기를 봐 대다 장다 당된비 제발라도 서로 오스나 답변아 본보실라 아니 요보지 와지 본보 되기 아니 요보 되기 다 지금 된다 가래 거다 소소라 파 고야도 파 접된 게 된디가 아니 요 본보 요보라 아니까지 야보지 되게 와이나 아니 니마 지금나 요보데 콘도 사와이나 소소라 까디 그 따댕이가 아니 요보디가 아니 본보데 아니 세샤가 되게 내지 연구를.
And then the verse number 4, it says, even dependent whom one rewards with the wealth and honor, which to harm the master who is repugnant and due to his anger. And so, the master who has been very kind to you, if you are angry towards that master, you will not see his kindness, all the things that he has done for you. Instead, you might end up killing him like that. Yeah, that happens a lot. Right? There's so many the servants who have killed their masters. And of course, there are many cases where the master kills the servants. So sometimes like a very faithful and devoted servant who has been in the back supporting him all his life, doing all the things for him. Yet, because of anger, he might kill that servant. Yeah, so you can see it, it's very obvious, right? So even though those people have been very nice to you, very kind to you, but when you are angry, you don't see that, and then you act with anger in a bad way to cause harm to them.
제가 답답하도 조보 조모 파트 조보 쇼다다 비빈자 조보 쇼다다 근데 뭐뭐 영화데 다 자비 전에 다 소소고 조보를 조모를 소소 빈자래다야 소소까지 첨보래다야 코로 사회 절라야 아니 저는 일단도 뭐도
So sometimes we cause harm to our friends, our families, right? Even though the friends and families have been very kind to us, always supporting us, but when we are angry, then we don't think about those good things that they did for us. Instead, we cause harm to them.
Okay, that then 영어도 가서 도중 영적 양모들 내기도 와.
Yeah, so that happens, right? This is very obvious to us.
근데 영어 대화때 또 가르나 아니 시다가 공로 되게 님이 그래.
And why that happened is because of the anger or hatred, right?
아 되게 죽이 되게 가르나 아니 그래도 어디 죽이 되게 대연 자시 쪽으로 이제 준비 되자 때문에 이제 되게 갔나 양 공로 되게 되는 시월하더니 아니 소소 가원님도 샘주 차니 가제 소소고 조보 좀 그가 팔라도 그래.
And then, so like in the verse number 5, it says, even friends fear him. And, he gives, but is not served. In brief, there is nothing that can make an angry person happy. So, and even his, the friends, and the families, will disappear, will not want to come or be close to him.
지메드자 때문에 셔스 간제 공로 사회나 아니 지금 소소고 조보 조문 다시 참 샘주 차지 네 샘마가 와제는 소소가 파 다른 뭐 자는 그래서 다 될라지 소소 간에로 제나 간제 두도 말해서 그러더라 말에.
And so they will all be disheartened, will be angry or sad with you, and then disappointed, and will go far away, and no means will be able to bring them back to you. Like even if you try to give them something or this thing, and then they will not trust in you anymore.
제가 내가 저 섬때 다셔 대양 먼저 섬때 하나야 보였어. 내가 마지 저러가 시와당 나비 그 당보니데 섬을 당다. 지나 라와나지 렌도에 문제가 있다.
And so now I think it's good to contemplate on this one also here. So contemplate on the meaning of these two lines. The first two lines of the verse 4 and verse 5. And is it really like that, as it is said in these verses or not? So if things happen in that way, this world, and then we say, yeah, that's really true. This is what it is. So in general, we all trust in scientists, right? Scientists. When if scientists said that, then we say, yeah, because they went through all these investigations, analysis, and then they found that out, so it's true. So what they're saying is true, right? And also that's because they say only the things that is obvious to them, right? So which they can see, either through analysis or directly. What is obvious to them, that's what they say. So we believe them. And so not just reading the words in the book and saying, oh yeah, it is like that, it's like that, but really understanding that's how it is through contemplation and meditation. And I think that will be more effective if we do it that way.
Okay, I think you have to go some dash. Think a little bit, couple minutes, okay? 2 minutes. Okay. Do you find something? Oh, this is really love. Yeah, this is how it's work. Or this is just, oh yeah, book said that, or Shantideva said that, Lama Zopa said that, or Buddha said that. It's like that. We need to something to similar, or the didn't want to read what, the didn't want to young do. Then there's no imagine when the job do something.
So you have to get that feeling that it's really like this. It is. It really happens like that, and it has been really explained like that before. And so if you got separated from your friends or families because of anger, then even if you give them some gifts, you will not be able to bring them back. And so it says in the last line of the verse 5, right? In brief, there is nothing that can make an angry person happy in this life or happy in the future lives. So since there's no happiness, we should understand the disadvantage of the anger or hatred, and should not let it rise at all in our mind, because the anger or the hatred is the worst enemy that can cause all these harms to us. And like it says in the verse 6, one who recognizes hatred as the enemy, knowing that it creates suffering such as this, and persistently overcomes it, becomes happy in this world and in the other. It's like, so the first two lines talks about the disadvantage of the anger. So if you understand how this enemy anger brings all these sufferings to us, and and then overcoming that, will bring happiness. So then that's the showing the advantages of the practice of patience. So if I would ask you a question, and so when it says in brief, there is nothing that can make an angry person happy. So when you're angry, there's no there's no time for happiness at all. Is that right? When you're angry, there's no opportunity for happiness at all. That's the question. So can somebody be, relaxed and laughing or enjoying while being angry? And it says the one who recognizes hatred as an enemy, knowing that it creates suffering. So the hatred, is the worst of all the enemies. Is that right? Do you accept that? So those who give suffering to us is our enemy, right? Is that right?
Okay. Marawa.
No?
And this okay, yeah. Deborah.
So I think that's if you have awareness of your mind, you have mindfulness. But I've had people tell me that when they're angry, they feel good and they need to follow through in that anger. So I think that's a very common perception of people who don't understand their own minds. I think you went out in the street and took a poll, asked how many people feel anger is bad. A lot of people would say, no, it's not bad. It's helpful. It makes me do correct wrongdoings and negativities.
제가 아니 제가 대랑의 열 때때데 내가 제가 라이브 가로 accept your 배치는 미카지의 찬스도 기본이 라고 찬스의 기본이래서.
Yeah, that's true. You know, that people, of course, you know, well, not people, not everybody, not only other people, even ourselves, right? You know, we think anger is good, so that we become angry and we show anger, and then we think we can correct things, you know, by becoming angry, you know, like that. But the reality, you know, is that when we are angry, we're never happy, right? But we don't understand that. Like, you know, sometimes we feel like when we're drinking, like alcohol, and when you drink alcohol, you feel like you'll be more happy, right? If you drink alcohol.
alcoholics that should not cause that go down shore why not this is not then to any given to some good was then that you may want to go.
And so, but people who are like, you know, who drink alcohol, who are habituated, you know, with drinking, will think that, you know, they'll be happy if they drink, right?
제가 대단한 대화장 라 some chocolate 간지 우리 전에 그런 그 동화 되겠는데 동화 때요 한 먹어 가지고 대화 노는 것도 타면 전부 되게.
Yes, of course, like you said, Deborah, we can think in that. We think that you know the anger is good for us, or you know, supports us, or protects us in that way. But you know, in reality, it's not like that.
근데 제너로 지금 소소 동화 되는데 소소 다 말했어요.
So who said that? I think it's Jennifer who says that someone who gives us suffering is not our enemy.
That's right.
Because
why? Give me an example.
Well, because the anger that we generate in response to that person is the enemy.
So that you're saying that person is enemy, or
no, the anger that we generate in our mind in response to that person, that's the enemy. The anger is the enemy.
Yes. And so, but you're saying that someone who gives you suffering is not enemy?
Say that again, please, Damcho.
So someone or something that gives you suffering is not your enemy?
Well, you know, I mean, yeah, for me, I might see it that way because, but the teachings tell us that the anger is the enemy.
Anyway.
나도 동화 때는 나도 상계 가서 나도 다 말했어. 나도 냥 가서 나도 콘도에 나도 동화 찍어 그랬어.
나도 동화 때는 나도 다 말했어.
네.
나도 동화
때는 나도 다 말했어. 근데 콘도에 가서 콘도에 나도 다 했어.
콘도에 나도 동화 때는 왜?
So the anger gives us suffering or not?
Yes, the anger gives us suffering.
Is that our enemy?
Yes.
The condo dana ngazo dares, you know, that duma thing is some da mares igas.
시당 대단 니나라도 추이 다이트라 니나 코로라 니나라다 아니 가는 니나라 아니 콘도에 가도 다워터 버려 가나 되게 동화 책을 해서 다야 차와 다 지금 따뜻한 차와 티라 요 말하고 들어라야 나시
Yeah, so because usually we think that someone who causes harm to us, we think of that person as our enemy, right? Why? Because that person gives us suffering. Therefore we do. And just like that, anger is our enemy because anger gives us suffering. Of course, you can debate on that. This is just an example to follow that, but not necessarily. Of course, everybody who gives you suffering is not necessarily your enemy.
So anyway,
what he's saying is that you should not be in love with anger because anger will bring you suffering. And then the next line of the verse 6 says, and persistently overcome it, becomes happy in this world and in the other. So this is talking about the advantage of the patience. So if you overcome with the anger and overcome the anger with patience, and will be happy in this and future lives. So in the verse 2, it says there's no evil like hatred and no fortitude like patience. Right? So we already talked about that. So if you have this practice of patience, and then people will all like you, will not fear with you, and the people or the animals or other beings around you in your neighborhood will not fear you. And so like even the animals will feel that, right? So they feel that someone who's causing harm to them, they will even from distance they will run away. They will fear. But those who they feel like they're not going to cause harm to them, then even if they're around them, right next to them, they will not fear and will just stay right there next to them. And even with the human beings, if there's somebody who doesn't get angry, who doesn't hate people, then other people find comfortable being around him, playing with him, making fun and joking with him, right? Is it like that? And like this, when you read the verse words like this, then think about it. Is it really like that? So then experiment it yourself, and then you will come down and say, oh yeah, it is really like that. So when you realize that through experiment or meditation, then that really becomes more effective. And then those and when you do the practice, this is what you have to do. You read the verse, and then contemplate on the meaning by analyzing about it. Is it really like that or not? Is it really? Then you gain the experience within yourself by understanding that. So instead of focusing on that, if you keep thinking, oh, what's happening next? What is happening next? What will be next? Then you'll go next, and you will finish the the whole text, but you'll get no realizations.
Tengama nganzo chunju ga de ta lojo che de wala nganzo kare asita ga du ja yesa ta se de ka wa chi connected de wa ka de te nya sen do re.
And so like when I was young, in the monastery studying philosophy and debating, so debating is always very important. So I would always look for the contradictories of what the statement is saying. Yes, okay, if he says like that, then what if he says like that? So always look for the contradictories.
세상 가도 냠내 제어가라 가는 슌주 세던 거네 타는 가도 냠녀랑 더 제고 와 제자 내 말로 따뜻한 거네 레도야 민도야 잠리 직땡 로다만 통도야 민도야 지드나 대용도 민도 더 담는 강간도 참하게 직땡들 지연은 어다땡 거네레스 될 팔나 따뜻 하고 메스 랍대용도.
And so, we should do the same experiment, with the practice, and analyze. Okay, if he says like that, then what if he says? What if it's like it goes like that? What if he says this? And so is it according is it in accordance with what people think or how it is in the world? So if it is in accordance with the world, then we all accept that, right?
제자 안에 지금 가도 어떤 장고를 좀 요송도 배나. 샴다 니제 세대 가서 지 출루바 주보 말했어. 잠리기 지 섬체 처음을 고야지 됐을 잘라 개침벌이 송도와.
Just like His Holiness says, the loving kindness and compassion is not only for someone. It's not only needed for someone who practice religion, but for everybody, every sentient being, so it will benefit from loving kindness and compassion.
제자 강식 접된 초좀 봐스 깔리 잡지 저거 곰네 그래 저거 가서 곰도 콩도 맞추는 거 제가 된딩 저봐야 뭐 곰딩이 되고 텐달라야 찍어온 거리 제가 심하나 찍어온 거를 했어요.
And persistently overcome it. So whoever in the other text it says whoever acidosely overcome it. And so how do you overcome it? By meditating on patience, right? So if you make effort to practice on patience, and with that effort, when you overcome the anger.
Okay, what time now? Exactly 11:30. Okay, do you have any questions? 제가 뭐뭐만 더 답시 제금에 정도인데 록세비잖아. 근데 도저히 전화야. 양내 양도 록 되고라 곰대 잡단 소소 팬도 그래.
We'll not try to go too many verses at a time. They just read it and then contemplate on the meaning and then meditate on that.
Looks like Bob has a question.
Yes, Geshe. So the question is again about how we practice patience. One concern I have is, we think of reasons not to get angry, and it sounds like it's true. And I mean, logically, we believe it's true, but our mind doesn't really accept it. But then we tell ourselves, well, I'm practicing patience. I won't allow myself to feel angry. And then it seems like when that happens, it's like when we sweep the dirt under the rug. And then the next day we say, I'm not going to allow myself to be angry. And then we sweep more dirt under the rug. And every day we sweep more dirt under the rug. And after a while, it's like the anger just wants to come out and just starts coming out. We can't control it anymore. So my concern is it really practicing patience when we tell ourselves, I won't allow myself to get angry, but our mind doesn't really believe the reasons. We're just seems like we're hiding the anger from ourselves.
그래서 자산이 고맙다.
나 콘도 사 맞춰야 돼. 나 땅아 콘도 사기면 라바데 되는 건 서버 공부 어려웠어. 나는 거는 가서 땅아 콘도 사기면 가서 다디 서버 콘도 마사야 되다 다 옆으로 산 거라. 아니 되지는 뭐 콘도 사기면 라바 삼게 되는 콘도 마사 차이가 말았어. 아니야 다 가서 되게 되는 건 콘도 사기면 라는데 가서 서버 공부 어려웠어. 그래서 다 가서 그냥 가서 그래서 가서 내 사변 올라. 아니 내가 뭐 참아 줘봐는 그 달라리라. 사이야 사이야 사던 야로 가서 강에 달라리거라. And a whole lot of Chama Chobane, Sanyan Talale, Sanyan Chobane, Kaduna, Talale. And I couldn't deny that one of the Yoba Kaduna. One of the Kaduna Yoba and other photos I may love them with the Sokogurus.
아 콘돔을 사게 매 나왔든지 서로 공고에 말해. 나왔더니 곰
지나다 서바 곰다 가르스 티켓이거든.
나 콘도 사게 매 사초고 말이 삼나야 대 로고 말해. 아니 나 콘도 사게 매 하잖아요 서로 곰도 말해.
And so just by saying that, oh, I'm not going to get angry or I should not get angry, you're not meditating on patience.
아 되게 제 도고 말해. 까도 말해.
So you won't be able to stop anger just by thinking like that.
다 야쇼데 아니 콘도 님이 다 거나 아니 딱 야쇼데 콘도 님이 다 거나 아니 콘도 마사바 야쇼 다 탑시데.
The best way to not get angry is to think about the disadvantage of anger. So the more you think about the disadvantage of anger, then less you will be getting angry.
제대로 콘도서 소소소라 콘도 사기도 한 것도 다들 이셔나 따대모네 미셔마 콘도서 바조 콘도 소소라 콘도랑에 대한 소소 미티기 시간대 많이 받지 아니 대 콘도 정도 제발 했으면 아니 콘도 마사야 될 거야.
Mission Bakarsa?
나 소소 미지라 콘도 사와이나 딱 안주 딱 코치에 마서 못치 마들라 대 많이 받지 단 이제 코야 콘도 정도 제발 해서는 코를 가지고 때 많이 용
And then also, like when we get angry towards somebody, right? Because he did something. So he did something. He did something, because of that, he said something, he did something, and then we get angry, right? And then instead of getting angry towards him, if we say, oh, he is, he did it. He said that, he did that, or he said that out of anger. So is his anger that made him to think like that, or say like that? If you blame on his anger, then there will be less anger towards him.
안단 잠도 소소소 딱 코로사 람 되게 내면 나까지 소소 코로사 요 안 조금 슬라이드로.
So same thing with oneself, right? Sometimes you say, I don't know if it's correct to say I'm angry with myself.
자 이제 대여한테 드리나요? 소소 맞아. 네 하고지 제가 말해. 다 나 무시 못 배워다. 소소 그 잡에 영어 전에 진 노트 못 배운 거라. 대상도나요? 소소 코로사에 대해 많이 팽을.
And then also at that time you can think like, I don't know if it is appropriate to say I'm angry to myself. Then you can say, oh, I know. And I did it out of anger. I did it out of attachment and ignorance, not knowing. And so if like that, then maybe you'll be less angry to yourself.
제가 대야쇼로 오면은 다들 장하라고 나지리. 나 코로 사초고 말에 사는 되게 말에 장자 사는데 그 용서 말에 코로 싸워다 하고 그거.
Yeah. So like you said, just by thinking that, oh, and I'm not going to get angry, I should not get angry. Of course, that's not going to stop the anger from rising.
대야 파투나 아니라 집에도 젠들 두개 봤대. 선도 당와이나. 다르지 만들어 두셔. 젠들 두셔 삼나이나. 어다 쩐 두셔 대리도 당은 싸우는 초로로.
And then you instead of saying that he did like that, he did like that, you blame to the anger. And then when you go even further to down to the root by thinking, oh, it is because of his self-chasing attitude, or it's because of his self-grasping ignorance, and then you really point to the root of the problem.
배 자신은 가도 미지가 가도 코로나 와이나 다 미치 마시 나와이나 가르쳐라 그래. 내 사만이지 그 책임도 내 라만이지 그 말이 냐마소 말 그것도 그 책임도 뭐지 되네.
And so most of the time when we get angry towards somebody, we think that, oh, he didn't do like I said, he didn't, say it like I expected, like that, because of thinking that he didn't do like I want, and that's why we get angry towards him.
근데 저걸 가는나 수수질랑 나눠서 너도 건강이요. 미치게 봐. 나도 건강을 수수고 삼로다, 수수고 따와다, 수수고 그리고 걔네를 빼 잡아쳐 버려.
And so most of us like that, right? We are so attached to our ideas, our point of views, all these things. So we want people to think in the same way, say in the same ways as like we expect.
제가 때 어떤 타마지 하고는 루루로 제나 아니 제네 고코로나 마 Master Pendo Kale Kalachin. Nimachi rather than Mare, Dawakashi rather than Mare.
So like that, if you keep on thinking, again and again about these disadvantages, the anger, and in that way, then you'll be maybe get less and less angry. But of course, that's not going to happen just by thinking for a day or for even a month or a year. It has to go for a long period of time, and then eventually that can happen.
Something Benangara, some time Kalachi. Pacho meeting, no to Chewa, no to the Anita meeting him. Mishimobe on the rest, Samayana, and Telekoromasa Pengu.
And then also the same, I mean, from my own experience, when I think bad about somebody and then I say, oh no, it's because that person did it out of ignorance, and out of anger or delusion like that, then it helps me to not get angry towards that person.
Okay? Think like that. Then, but the Tanachara on the day. Can you take through just so the Dan Holo shot? They tell you Chibachianga. Ko Karo, Colonway and Mat Kondo Tamsha, Tin Roman, Ko Konoway is our money. Colin she, Keja, she, Kalate, and the Kalega Kova Piota.
And so, yeah, otherwise, just like you said, in the example you gave about sweeping under the rug, and it's like that. It will be there all the time, and so you have to understand the means, the ways how to overcome it properly.
Thank you, Geshe.
The Korola ko Jambo and ko Papio, Pitanko, Kale, Keja Shigis, Nemo Shigis Piota.
So you have to kick out, the anger in a nice way by talking nicely to it.
Such a matter cook did do the two Katamas you could damage and I couldn't watch Conga.
So if you just if you be very strict and so you cannot get angry at all like that, and you like tightening the bottle, and it can explode.
Pechana, Nano Pena. Tangazo Yamio or Vana, Nando, Turutango ina. Kotancho with the court, something that could pay Chiforo.
So if you like have to release the gas, then and say no, I cannot release it. If you hold it tight, then it will get released by itself, and it will be bad, right? But if you release it in a nice way, and then nobody will realize that.
Yeah, like that, okay. Did I answer your question?
Yes, thank you. Very good. Thank you, Geshe.
Okay, then who? Jennifer, you have something?
Yes, Geshe, I have a question. In at least in this translation, it uses anger and hatred kind of interchangeably throughout the verses. Are we to understand that anger refers to all the mental factors related to anger, like resentment or spite or harmfulness? Is that all of that?
소소 결경원의 지 대체 세워지는 코카가 좀 시당 잡아놓는 거도 가봐. 간지 아마 이제 맞지와 성의 같은 게 샘주시 샤대 그래.
Yeah, it's all. I mean, it's kind of related. Of course, it has an individual mental factor has that different meaning for it, but they're all related. Anyway, so as long as you have any of these mental factors like the spite and so forth, then you will be unhappy. So it's there. It's referring to all of them in general, but of course, each one has its own purpose or meaning. Like when you have this, that causes harm to you, and it does have and cause harm to others, and so forth like that. Yeah, it's all kind of related. Yes.
Thank you, Geshe.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Margaret.
Geshe, so thank you for taking the question. So it's kind of like a follow on Bob's question. On now that we have awareness that it's not good to be angry, but on the path of practicing is very difficult, right? So maybe we're getting a little better, but we don't get angry, but the feeling, the negative feeling is swept under the rug, swept under the rug. So maybe it builds up and it's very, so you don't erupt in anger, but I think it's very subtle anger that maybe your body language, the way you look and all that, you interact, and you miss out on the opportunity of being, noticing that, oh, the good side of the person. But you realize it after that and you're filled with regret, right? But the moment is past, that moment of opportunity to have a good relationship or like to have a good meeting or something, that moment is past and it cannot come back. So when you reflect later, you're filled with regret. So my question is, Geshe, do you have any advice on how to, how do we manage our feelings of regret? How to transform it into an antidote?
You mean for the regret or for the anger?
Well, we never get angry, but so it never manifests as external anger, but maybe it's still like swept under the rug, and I'm sure it maybe manifests out in other ways of it's not anger, but you just kind of like always cannot see the person in positive light, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's very hard to explain. It's like your mind knows this is your own mind that's creating that. It's not that person's fault, but it's still so hard to try to completely change and see the person in a positive light, because there is some because what if there is just that it's not completely your mind that is wrong? That person is also doing something wrong. Yeah. This is where then it's difficult to reconcile. It's like, but the person is doing something that is not good, right? And so what should I do? Do I be very open and honest and go to the person and say, you know, this you're doing is not good? Or should I just say, no, work on my own feeling of not feeling unhappy about that person?
Okay. Then the oh the job gigs that the job de la di the course nyembo ten yeresa the te mata mona the bena kodo sadon da miss them ngado kodo sadon den ta ngegi kran da thoma den re ma ji kran da mona yabu marsa ngado pura sama ge tapchi chigo dena samtu moras khasna ngado ngone 지도 가지고 초진에 가지고 따기 어려지는 초신단에 코로나 지금 코로나도 열었어. that thing on bitter 가지고 그러잖아 다 지금 파 못된다고 그랬죠 그랬어.
그래. 다 담보 가래 가린 조바들 거 telni오 되게 봤다. 조바진 야쇼다. 그 네바 제한 받을 조바진 아니 주마대 맞아 팽을 때. 그 네뭐 땡어 말해.
So, if you become even if you don't erupt, with the anger towards that person when that person says something, but just showing some expression, from your face of not liking what that person's doing, or disliking that, or maybe not paying attention, or showing some kind of expression from your face. Yeah, so that can be also, of course, this is not easy. That can come, and then but later if you realize that and then you feel regret, that's good. And then so there's no, of course, I don't think you're asking for the antidote for that regret, right? of course, the regret itself is the antidote. If you have that, if you get regret, and then that will help you to not be like that in the future, not repeat that kind of thing again in the future. But if you don't have a regret, then you might say, oh, it's all right, then you just will keep on doing that. But if you had a regret for that, then you will not do it. So having regret is good. So even if you have abandoned the anger, but because of the tendency, towards the anger, then that kind of expression will come because of your tendency. So like even if you have given up drinking alcohol, but because of your tendency, when you are near somebody drinking alcohol, then you get some kind of feeling there. So yeah, when you see the person doing something bad, and for you to think like, oh, it's not, the person is me thinking like that. Like that, you can, of course, that can help also, but also, like you said, it's not only that I don't, I should see it that way, but also really there is fault in that person. And so instead of blaming, to that person, so you can say, oh, this is the person's anger or person's delusion that's making him to do that. Then you don't really get angry towards the person. You are blaming. If you are able to blame, to the delusions, then your anger, towards person will not be, great. So when we say practice patience, doesn't mean that you should accept the other person's faults. And so if you don't fall under the anger, you don't get, means like you don't get angry right away, and then act with that anger. If you don't, instead, if you can control yourself not to fall under anger, then you will be able to have a stable mind and act in a proper way.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think now we stop. I hope you guys get a little bit benefit. And yeah, this thing we to read slowly. Then you do your own self to analytical meditation. Not just okay, Shantideva said that, or Geshe told that, not like that. Is this work or not? Is true or not? We have to use our own intelligence or philosophy. I don't know what you say. Our mind. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Saji perki jikshin me tok tram re rab ding jin ni de gen pa de sange jin du mi te owagi drokun mam da jing la chur pa shu jitsun la me kut se rab ten ching nam ka trin le chok chur ge pa dang lo sang ten pedren me sasun gi dro we mun sel tak tu ne gyur chig yidam guru ratna mandalakam niryatayami. From my two collections, vast as space that I have amassed from working with effort at this practice for a great length of time, may I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose mind's wisdom eye is blinded by ignorance. Even if I do not reach this state, may I be held in your loving compassion for all my lives, Manjushri. May I find the best of complete graded paths of the teachings, and may I please all the Buddhas by practicing. Using skillful means drawn by the strong force of compassion, may I clear the darkness from the minds of all beings with the points of the path as I have discerned them. May I uphold the Buddha's teachings for a very long time. With my heart going out with great compassion in whatever direction the most precious teachings have not yet spread, or once spread have declined, may I reveal this treasure of happiness and aid. May the minds of those who wish for liberation be granted bounteous peace, and the Buddha's deeds be nourished for a long time, by even this graded course to enlightenment completed due to the wondrous virtuous conduct of the Buddhas and their children. May all human and non-human beings who eliminate adversity and make things conducive for practicing the excellent paths never be parted in any of their lives from the purest path praised by the Buddhas. Whenever someone makes an effort to act in accordance with the tenfold Mahayana virtuous practices, may they always be assisted by the mighty ones, and may oceans of prosperity spread everywhere. In that snow mountain encircled land, source of every benefit and joy, may Lord Tenzin Gyatso Chenrezig remain in life till samsara's end. Tong Yi Ying Je Zung Du Ju Pe Lam Che Che Sel Ze Gong Chen Tendren Chagma Pemo Tenzin Gyatso La Serwa Debso Jeden Lundru Shu Total Changxing Jamgen Yelwei Tenzin Kyong Pelwei Kunzo Dog Podze Choksun Kowei Le Wan Tudru Padak So Dulje Gendu Jab Ten Sho. Through this virtue may I swiftly, having gained Guru Buddha state, place each and every sentient being without exception in that state. Precious Supreme Bodhi mind, may it where unborn arise, and where born never decline, but increase forevermore. Mig me tse wei ter chen chen resik, dream e kien pei, wang po jam tel yan, gang chen ke pei, su gen song ka pa, lo sang drak pei, Jabla Solade. Thank you, Geshe. Thank you, Damchala.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you, Geshe. Thank you, Damchala.
Thank you, Geshe and Damsho. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you,
thank you.
Geshe.
Thank you. Thank you, Geshe.
Everybody.
Damcho.
Bye-bye.
Thank you,
Good
Geshe.
day.
Thank you, Damcha.